Someone's just whispering in Robin's ear. He's in a meeting that he's allowed to come out. Should we just start and Robin will join us when he's ready? He knows he's meant to be here. Oh, there he is. Come in, Robin.
So sorry. Hello, I'm Robin. Before we start, can I be really cheeky and ask to bring my cup of tea?
Yeah, no, of course.
Oh, my work's over at the carers centre because there's a need for carers to be supported as well. Yes, it's worked quite well.
Oh, very well.
It's for unpaid carers, but a lot of people don't know about it. It gives you certain things you can access, which you may not have known about. And some people still say, oh, no, I don't want the help. I do it because I really care for the person. But what we say is, well, you can do both. You do still care. There's still your husband, your sister, your father, whatever. But there's also this help. And it's there. So, take it up. It doesn't mean you're any less of a person in terms of loyalty because you're getting the help, because being a carer can be so emotionally demanding.
The problem that we find,
ironically,
is that people have got more issues with the caring service than they have with the person they're caring for. And the irony of that is it just doesn't escape you, does it, really? And we try to work with those people about how to manage that, and it's very difficult to manage a system or to manage agencies. A lot of the time we've had situations, haven't we?
Yeah.
Where the quality of care has been so poor that it's put, ironically, a person's life at risk if you don't give them the medication or you've overdosed on the medication. You haven't read the dossier box, you've just given them a tablet, or you don't write in the book. All of the things that are in the system that are what I'd call safeguards,
yeah,
they're not done for a whole range of reasons. Any people think anybody can wash anybody, and you can't.
No, of course you can't.
No, you can't. And you're doing it with some dignity. I really struggle when people talk about training people in dignity and respect. It's just a personal thing, but you've either got that or you haven't. And I also think about the courses, the best people to come and train on a course are the carers themselves. Why don't they ask people? Because when you've got somebody standing in front of you telling their story, the impact on that is much better than anything you can read in a book.
Yeah.
They could run them courses standing on their head, most of these people.
The thing is, if you do caring for like 2 years or whatever, maybe even less than that, your motivation as a carer, it drops. Completely drops, because you feel as if you're unsupported. You're not going anywhere. 95% of the time, it's going to get worse rather than better. And you get fatigue as a carer. You really do. A lot of people, they get very tired. They get exhausted. They get depressed. They feel as if they're not getting the help. In effect, they almost feel forgotten about.
I think abandonment is a really good word, because people feel abandoned, don't they?
Absolutely.
Or the quality of care that they're getting is so poor that they think, oh, Christ almighty.
It's about having a sense of a network around you, that you're not on your own. That's so important.
And especially at peak times, like Christmas is, it is so just the worst time for it.
And that's the other thing which it brings up for me, is that when I've been working with carers or elderly, there is almost as if there's like a script in the family, that this person's going to be the one who looks after mum, this person's going to be the one who does this, and everybody else says, oh, we can take a back seat because she does it now. see, they might start caring for the elderly relative when they are 73, 74, but then you fast forward 15, 16 years on, and the elderly relative is 86, 87, 88, and the range of difficulties that people have are a lot more acute at that stage.
There's a lot of resentment. So much resentment in some families. Yeah.
Well, I'd been a carer for an aunt in London, and I felt a bit sort of, I don't know, embarrassed, maybe. Sometimes saying, "Oh, I'm a carer for my auntie." I suppose on some level, there was something not quite right about being male and doing all this. You know, if my aunt had had a daughter, if she'd had a niece, then that daughter or that niece would have done it. Sometimes people fall into the role when it's not necessarily the right thing for them.
But I think that's the same for women. I don't think women are any different.
Oh,
I think there's...
Yeah, of course.
I think there's when men do the caring, well, because we've heard it.
Yeah.
Where people, haven't you got a great son? Oh, isn't it wonderful?
Yeah.
I think when men do the caring, I think there's a lot more credit given. Sorry about that.
It's fine.
And I do think we sometimes get that, don't we?
Yeah.
And do people listen to men in services more than women?
No.
I just think that. I was just wondering if that...
I don't.
No, I don't know if that's the case. I'm just saying...
No.
I think you were a great carer to Auntie Rosemary.
No, but that was sort of one-off.
I know, but you were still a great carer, because we all loved Auntie Rosemary.
No, but that was, well, yes, I could have done better.
No, but it's nice that you've done a good job. Sorry. Anyway, sorry, I just, as I said, he was a great carer to Auntie Rosemary. The other thing I was just thinking of is about when somebody's a couple and how we don't accommodate for the people who are older to go into the homes together. The amount of time we've come across people where they've been split up.
Yes.
And most places, they've only got one place here, they've only got one place there. And I did some work with a couple, and they'd been split up. And I was visiting one, I was visiting the other, and they were saying, "Oh, where is, well, let's say her name's Susan. Where's Susan?" And you thought, this is ridiculous. You're asking me where Susan is. Why don't you know? Why is no one taking you on a visit? And you asked the daughter, and she just said, "I can't think straight anymore because I'm just so worn out." And then,
oh yeah,
I mean, unfortunately, it was really interesting because they didn't live 4 months apart and they died. And the daughter just said, "My mum and dad died of heartache, of heartbreak, because they'd never been, you know, they were a couple that had been married during the war, so they'd never been separated. And in theory, you can't die of heartbreak. You know, in psychological theory, I think it's a load of nonsense. Of course, a person can die of heartache. How can they not? And I, as a carer, could do nothing about it. You know, I asked social services. I even involved the commissioners. Couldn't happen. And you think, how can that not happen?
Yeah, that's a human right for me.
Yeah. And God forbid they should ever want to have sex. God! Or they'd probably be sectioned, wouldn't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
God, well, who's put an age limit on that?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, the fact that we both said nothing says it all. I think our experience at this moment in time makes us very worried for the elderly and for the carer, full stop. Unless we start to change our own attitudes. But everything has to be put in a way that is complex, that is complicated. Like, oh, it's so complex. Well, it's not. Joe Public could do it because they know. And so when you say, what's the hope? My hope is that they ask Joe Public,